have been missing out. Ah, Ginger. I'm sorry. Oh, yes. Yes, thank you.
Next Sunday afternoon from 1 to 3 is Expressing the True Abundance of Who You Are. And then starting on Wednesday, March 2nd, Giving Thanks Workshop. And there's out in the bookstore and down on the community bulletin board are some sign-up sheets, some introspective things to look at, and a little message from Paula on the back about abundance. So please encourage everybody to do that. Paula's a very dynamic teacher. She'll be giving our lesson next Sunday.
Oh, good. Yeah, will she be doing the leadership workshop
Yes.
Saturday from 9 to 4? Okay. Excellent. Thank you. If we've covered our church business. Oh, there's Pam.
Sorry, I have a question.
That's fine.
Are we still volunteering for Head Start? And is that next one?
The next one is Wednesday night, which is the first night of Paula's class. So, I don't know how that's going to work out. So if you're not interested in the class and would be available to volunteer, let me know today so I can email the director. Yeah, go ahead and just sign up for it.
Ginger, can you help me change my flat tire?
That's right, girl.
Thank you, Ginger.
Stand by and encourage you.
Yes, yes, we can all encourage. Is there anything I can say to help? Yeah. Okay. Does anyone have any personal cares, concerns, and celebrations? Any prayer requests or just anything that's happening? Any good news, bad news? Just what you'd like us to know. Pam.
Prayer request for my student. It's a long story, but just simply a prayer for Jason.
Yes, yes.
Happy home would be wonderful. And also, for those of you who didn't hear, Terry Mullen is a bit under the weather, so we'll send her blessings as well.
Okay, good.
She's got that cold.
Okay.
They call it pneumonia, but but she's getting better.
Good, good. Anyone else?
Patrick.
Yes, I completed prayers for my friend Randy, who disappeared 6 weeks ago now, and more for his family, because I'm not sure. I mean, he was out treasure hunting in the Rio Grande, and today would be his 55th birthday. So prayers for his family and Randy.
Yeah, definitely. Does anyone else have anything they would like to share? Yes. Yeah, I was thinking of that. Has anyone heard from Lorene? Perhaps David has word, or yes.
I know that she's doing better.
Good.
Joe talked to her the other day, and she was thinking about coming to church. She's only on oxygen at nighttime now.
Good.
So she is doing much, much better, but Joe is gone for her cousin's memorial service, and so he couldn't pick her up, and so she decided, well, she'll stay home.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. For those of you who are new here, Lorene has been with us since this church was founded, pretty much, and she is an amazing, strong, beautiful woman. She is 96 years old, and she's doing better. Thank goodness, because we're looking forward to seeing her back here again very, very soon. Anyone else? Mark.
Everyone knows, most of you'll know Sharon. She was diagnosed with hyperparathyroidism, and we're going to see whether or not there is any surgery involved or what they're going to, how they're going to address it. But she's the depression and stuff that goes along with that has been kind of hard for her. So prayers are really, really appreciated.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Anyone else? Yeah, let's just take a pause for a few moments here and offer prayers for all of these people who have been mentioned. Wish them light and peace. Thank you. So, with that, our daily word will be offered to us by Jim Rippey.
Today is Sunday, February 21st, 2016. Today's word is imagination, and it's not working because Ginger's not up here doing this. Our affirmation is, the power of imagination is the power to create change in my world. The power of imagination allows me to see beyond appearances. As I tune in to divine mind through daily prayer, I open myself to ideas. They may come in visions, dreams, or gentle whispers within. As they arise, I perceive the world and my life in their true perfection. Through the power of imagination, I envision peace and harmony among individuals and nations. I affirm prosperity and abundance in all homes and hearts. Divine mind shows me the way. I take action to manifest my dreams. I invite the universe to surprise me with possibilities. Inspired by spirit, I am free to be creative. I make the best use of my time and resources. Our scripture is, let me hear what God the Lord will speak, for he will speak to his people, to his faithful, to those who turn to him in their hearts. Let us acknowledge this sacred moment by singing Surely the Presence.
Of the Lord is in this place. Indeed, God is present here and now. And in that awareness, let us pray. Father, Mother God, we give thanks for this opportunity to be aware of your presence. To be aware of your presence here and now. We open ourselves to your guidance. We open ourselves to your love. We open ourselves to your warm embrace, which is only absent by our choosing. In this awareness of your presence, in this moment, we carry this forward to this next moment, and to the next, and to the next. We give thanks that this is so. And so it is that together we say, Amen. Well, indeed. As often happens, a series of talks becomes an integrated whole. We might look at this series of talks that have come back, that have started back at the 10th of January, as a series on living fully. And so we have been through the gamut of living authentically and listening to what is going on. And so we come to this point in our series, and it is probably appropriate that we say, I say yes. You may recall that for those of you who don't know, and for those of you that do, it's still the same facts, and that is that Linda went through a knee replacement operation here recently, about 8 weeks ago, on the 4th of January. And she did not arrive at the decision to do that peacefully. She is a skilled web researcher, and so she wanted to find out what the experiences were of other people who have been through knee operations and who also suffer from fibromyalgia, which she has for the last 30 years. So it was a significant decision for her to step into the maw, as it were, because she found many, many, many stories of fibromyalgia patients that were in worse shape after the operation than before. And so we stepped cautiously into the possibility that she would have a knee replacement operation. And we went through the process of finding a doctor, and it turns out that we participate in the Kaiser HMO. And there is a Dr. Little up in Rock Creek, Exempla Rock Creek, that is a skilled knee replacement surgeon. I mean, that's what he does. I can't imagine having that as being my sole task, to assess patients, to take them into the operating room, to slice open the flesh in front of their knee, move and saw the bone, hammer the joint back together. It's wonderful. He does a great job. I'm not sure that I could be in that manufacturing kind of assembly line process as a career, but nonetheless, he did a great job. And on the backside, Linda's recovery has been very smooth. She has gained full flexibility of her knee well ahead of schedule. She is in a position where when her knee started giving her problems some 3 or 4 years ago, her activities diminished substantially. And in that diminished activity, her body became rather out of shape. And so she is back on top, and she is very motivated to get back into shape. And so I, of course, am supporting her wholeheartedly. She said, well, let's join the Y. I said, well, okay, well, let's give that a try. Turns out that there's a city rec center just down the hill from us. And the city rec center has a whole battery of machines that supposedly help you get in shape. Well, the last time I used those machines was back in the mid-'80s. I mean, literally 30 years ago. So that was right on the front end, and I actually didn't like the machines very much. So I went through the rec center. They have a whole gallery of machines, and I walked through and I pondered what that one might be for, and looked at the other one, decided, that must be some kind of torture machine. So I engaged the local trainer to give me an orientation, what's the proper usage of this, what posture, and so on. And so I did that on Friday. And so I went down there with my whole new exercise duds on, and so he said, well, let's start out with some stretching exercises, some warm-up exercises. And he showed me a few of those, and he said, okay, now I just want to get you started here. Let's get those legs working. And so he put me on an elliptical. Now, I'd seen people using an elliptical, right? I mean, I didn't just crawl out from under a rock, but I'd never used one before because my exercise for legs was hiking and biking and so on. I said, okay, well, I'll say yes to that. And so I got on this elliptical, and he set up the resistance, and he set up the timer, and he says, okay, now just kind get into it and get the feel of the arm, leg motion. I said, okay, well, I can do this. So I started working this thing, and he says, well, let's increase the resistance a little bit. Okay, if you insist. And he said, let's add another minute. And I said, well, what's a minute, right? And it turns out that I got off this machine and I could barely stand up. I mean, my knees were buckling under me. And he says, okay, let's go over to these machines now. I'll show you how to work them. And with my brain barely getting enough oxygen to concentrate on following him, we went through the pattern of machines and came out the other end. And he said, well, I'd like to show you one more machine. And I said, I'm done. He said, okay, I'll show you some cool down exercises. So he took me through some cool down exercises, and I got my body back into the car and went back up to my house. And the front steps at my house, there's 7 front steps, and no problem, right? Man, I could barely make my way up those steps. Well, Friday afternoon, my legs were killing me. Saturday morning, my legs were killing me even more. I got up this morning and my legs were killing me. I said, where's the Aleve? I'm going to have to take some Aleve so that I can get around the church. And so that's why I'm moving fairly slowly. But I did say yes. Over this last week, I ran across a video by Shonda Rhimes. You all know Shonda Rhimes? Okay, so those who shook their head no obviously don't watch TV because because Shonda Rhimes has 3 Thursday night shows: Grey's Anatomy, Scandal, and How to Get Away with Murder. Well, those are shows that actually I'm entertained by. So I will have my DVR on the first 2. I really haven't gotten into the third one, but Grey's Anatomy and Scandal, and so when I ran across this TED Talk by Shonda Rhimes, I was intrigued, and the title of the talk was "The Year I Said Yes to Everything." Well, that's kind of interesting, isn't it? To say yes to everything. Now, it turns out that she didn't say yes to everything. I mean, she used a little bit of discernment as to what she was going to say yes to. But here's a lady that works that works on 3 programs. She of course has a staff, but she's the producer and she's the lead writer. She is responsible for some 70 hours of primetime programming each season. She is the mother, the single mother of 3 children, and so they range from 2 years old to 14 years old. And so, as you can imagine, she's a very busy lady. But she decided that she was going to say yes to all of those things that she was afraid of. That was the key, was, am I afraid of this? If I'm afraid of this, I'm going to say yes to it. And what she realized was that the things that she said no to out of fear were those very things that constructed a prison for her. The fear of doing something was a prison. It was, just another bar in the cell. And so her intention was to break out of that imprisonment of fear by saying yes to those things that she was afraid of. Speaking in public. She's a very shy person, it turns out, and speaking in public was one of the huge fears that she had. She worked with actors all the time, right? But she was afraid of acting, so she wanted to say yes to acting. She was afraid of a number of different things that she realized caused her to kind of stay in place because of those fears that surrounded her. So she decided to say yes. Everything that horrified me, scared me, freaked me out, made me think I was going to die. To those things I say yes. Well, think about it. In your life, what are those things that you say no to because you're afraid of them? You're afraid of being embarrassed or humiliated. You're afraid that you're not going to be able to achieve what you want to achieve, that you're not going to be able to hold your head high once you have done those things. Well, those fears that you have are the very things that limit you in life. Not because they take away specific experiences, but because they cause you to be embraced by, oh, I can't go there, I can't do that, or I can't go there, I can't be with that person, or I can't say this thing. These things keep us encased. Some with a little bit more flexibility than others, but the fear in and of itself is an imprisonment that we have the opportunity to break out of if we say yes. And it's not about losing our discernment. It's not about realizing that this particular thing, well, you know, one of the things that I've been intrigued by is flying. How many of you have been intrigued by flying? You know, there are flyers. There are human flyers. They have these web suits. And these web suits make your body look kind of like a bat, right? In terms of spreading your arms, spreading your legs, and the cloth that's connecting your hands to your toes becomes the airfoil. Well, have you seen movies, GoPro movies of these flyers? Wow! What a rush! I am not going to buy a wetsuit. Okay. I have some discernment here. I just saw a movie of a fellow that wanted to show the precision of his flying. And so he set up a barrier on a ridge line that had between it a couple of balloons that were on two pegs. Now, these balloons were about 4 feet above the ridge line. 4 feet above the ridge line. And so he climbed the mountain. He jumped off the cliff. He got airborne. I mean, literally, he got air under his wings. And he came down through the valley, approaching this ridge line, and he broke the things that were holding the balloons up. And he hit his foot on the ground. Well, it was a long recovery process because he tumbled down the mountainside. He had numerous broken bones. But wow! I can't imagine setting that as a goal, that I'm going to jump off this 2,000-foot cliff. I'm going to get airborne. I'm going to come swooping down, half a mile or a mile away, and I'm going to have timed it just perfectly so that I can be just 4 feet above the ground. Well, I have some discernment. I'm not going to buy a wetsuit, but the ability to say yes to those inconsequential fears. I say inconsequential because they're not really substantial, right? So you're embarrassed. So what? So you try something and you're not successful. Unless you are talking about a wetsuit, then most things are not life-endangering. But saying yes to those things that you are afraid of can be very life-enhancing. Not because of the thrill of that which you are saying yes to, but because it takes away one more fear. Jesus offered us this in Matthew 5:33-37. Again, you have heard that it was said to those of ancient times, you shall not swear falsely, but carry out the vows you have made to the Lord. But I say to you, do not swear at all, either by heaven, for it is the throne of God, or by the earth, for it is his footstool, or by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great king. And do not swear by your head, for you cannot make one hair white or black. Let your word be yes, yes, or no, no. Anything more than this comes from the evil one. These are all nice words, right? Well, let's break this down. What is swearing about? When you swear about something, what are you expressing? Aren't you expressing your dissatisfaction with the circumstances as they are? Aren't you expressing dissatisfaction about some relationship or some expectation that was not met in some way or another? When you are swearing, what you are doing is you are declaring that is, right? You're expressing a frustration about something that is going on in your life. But if you do not swear at all, what are you doing? You're saying, okay, well, that happened. My response to this is this, and I go on with my life. I don't occupy myself with that which has gone wrong or which has gone against my expectations. I step forward, and I am open and receptive to the next moment. Jesus was not about giving us rules to satisfy some far-off distant God. What Jesus was about was giving us rules so that we could live our life fully. Live our lives fully. Without fear. Without fear. You know what? His authentic words were not about fear that God out there, but rather live your life fully as you were meant to live life. As he is saying here, do not swear by the earth, or do not swear by heaven, or do not swear by the hair on your head, because all of that is really inconsequential. Swearing in and of itself puts you into this frame of mind where you are stating dissatisfaction with your life. The dissatisfaction is only because you have expectations that are different from what the evidence is conveying. So let go of the expectations. Let go of all of the fears that you have that imprison you. But instead say yes, yes, or no, no. Be discerning. Say yes to those things that are going to fill you, fulfill you, expand your life experience. Say no to those things that are going to harm you. Say no to those things that are going to distract you from this fullness of life that we have available. Say yes to those things that will empower you, that will release your fears. Say no to those things that are not appropriate for you. Discernment is different than judgment. Discernment is about assessing what is appropriate for yourself. Be it yes, yes, or no, no. Judgment is about discerning what is appropriate for someone else. That's why do not judge, right? That's the declaration, do not judge, because what you're doing then is you're occupying yourself with what someone else should or shouldn't be doing. And you are distracting yourself from the realization of the moment here now for you to live your life fully, to live your life expansively, to live your life in an empowered way. Anything more than this comes from the evil one. Who is the evil one? The evil one is that part of our consciousness that declares our separation from each other and from God. A Course in Miracles declares that to be the ego. That is a very comfortable definition for me. It is that aspect of ourselves which says that I am separate from this God that's out there somewhere, which is a false statement, and I am separate from each and every one. When Jesus said, love God with all your heart and love your neighbor as yourself, what he was saying was, get rid of this concept of separation. Get rid of this idea that you have it all for yourself and no one else, that you are not related to everyone else on this planet. Realizing that we are neighbors, realizing that we are children of the Most High, that we are the harbors of the Christ, that there is an opportunity for us to relieve ourselves of fear, allows us to relieve ourselves of the ego, because fear is the primary tool of the ego. And when we let go, divorce ourselves from our fears, the ego loses its power. And we can live fully in the moment. We can realize our connection with each other. We can realize that we are an expression of God in this moment, and that there is nothing that can harm us. Not in truth. Oh, it may threaten our body, like those exercises did on Saturday or Friday, but there is nothing that can truly harm us, because we are the expression of God in this moment. Release yourself from the imprisonment of your fears. When Linda said yes to the knee operation, she was empowering herself to a life that is free of pain. She is so excited by the opportunities that are in front of us that she decided that she was going to get in shape better than when fibromyalgia hit her in 1986. Say yes. Say yes. And feel your life expand. We'll have our meditation. As we come into our meditation, let us come in with I cast all my cares.
Cast all my cares on you, God. I cast all my cares on you, and lay all my burdens in your presence. I cast all my cares on you, oh God. I cast all my cares on you, God. I cast all my cares on you. And even when I'm not sure what I should do, I cast all my cares on you, oh God.
As we breathe into this moment, as we allow ourselves to fully remain in this moment. We let go of that thought baggage that we pulled into this moment. We let go of the concern that we have for the next moment. We just rest here, fully awake, fully alert, attending to the breath, feeling it move into us, refresh us, and feeling it carrying away those things that no longer serve us. But take a deep breath and feel how when the breath comes in, there is a wave of refreshment that moves through your torso. And as you breathe out, feel that release, that relaxing release. Breathing in, breathing out. And in this relaxed state, bring to mind one thing that you've habitually said no to. Doesn't matter how important it is, how significant it is in your life. Just bring to mind one thing for which you have said no, habitually. Is this thing you've said no to a danger to you, to your physical or mental health? If not, why no? Why not yes? What would that experience be like to change from no to yes? How might that experience of yes open a new door for you? Release you from the fear of that which you are saying yes to. What would that be like? Do you feel an expansion? Do you feel a lightening or broadening of your experience? Maybe yes will bring you an insight, a revelation, an awareness upon which you can build a new experience, an empowering experience, perhaps even a life-altering experience. Give yourself the gift of releasing the fear and say yes. With this yes in mind, we come back to this time and space, sharing the words of the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. And we'll take an offering for unity now. As we take our offerings in our hands, let us bless them with this offering statement. Together, please. Divine love blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I give in love because I trust in God. And once again, Patty Jackson, irreverence.